Welcome back to the channel and another campfire talk. Before we get started, let's add something to the hot chocolate. And I'm going to go with my own favourite, the Fireball Spiced Whiskey. Yummy. Oh yeah, very Christmassy. Perfect. So yeah, join me again here at the Bug Out Parachute Shelter and for another campfire chat. So this one is all about preparing yourself for winter and the possibility of electrical outages or blackouts. Now you might have heard in the news recently, Deputy Prime Minister Oliver Downing come out publicly and said that people should stock up on torches, batteries and supplies at home for possible winter electrical blackouts. And he suggested you stock things like say torches, first aid kits, battery operated radios, and that was in order to prepare yourself for possible electrical blackouts, but also possible digital communications going down. Dowden listed possible excuses why these things might happen, like Russia's invasion of Ukraine, that whole story, cyber attacks, pandemics, and the misuse of artificial intelligence. That's the new kid on the block, isn't it? And good old climate change, weather events. So yeah, while it is sensible to prepare yourself for any possible disaster, it's funny how they come out just before winter and hit you with what could happen. You know, breakdown in communications and possible power cuts. Now, would you have thought the billions and billions we give to the government through our taxes, they'd be well equipped for any possible disaster? This just goes to show that the governments are very ill planned and have nothing in place, and it's up to you to make sure you're prepared for any coming disaster. Oh yeah. So with that in mind, here's a quick guide on how you can protect your home and yourself for any possible power outages or blackouts this coming winter. Just having a bit of tea as well. Venture Nutrition chicken korma, freeze dried. So first thing is emergency kit essentials. You want to create an emergency kit that includes essential items such as torches or flashlights, batteries, of course, a first aid kit, all the things that Downing said, isn't it? But also non-perishable food, and obviously a way of heating it or cooking it. And then it's also water. When electric goes off, the pumps stop working and you have no water. So make sure your emergency kit and supplies is fully accessible. You know, you're wandering around in the dark, aren't you? And that everybody knows exactly where it is or how they can get to it. You also want to include things like warm blankets, obviously, because you might have just electric heating, which they want you to have these days, don't they? So yeah, electric goes out, you've got no heating. Obviously warm clothing, sleeping bags, have all them stored in a box somewhere, so if it does happen, you can easily find them and keep yourself warm. You never know how long the electric could be off. It could be 20 minutes, it could be 3 days, isn't it? So as we're talking about staying warm, the next thing is alternative ways of producing heat, keeping warm, and light. So you may want to look into investing in alternative light sources. Your lamps, LED lamps, oil lamps. I'm not a huge fan of oil lamps, but oil lamps are another option. Obviously candles. Again, just like the lamps, you've got to be careful what you're doing with the candles. Obviously a naked flame in the house, isn't it? But anything like that, where you can see what you're doing in the house, whether you're cooking or just sitting with the family. Having an alternative way of lighting the environment is not just comforting, but it's also a safety issue as well, isn't it? So additionally, keeping warm. Like I say, you could have a ruck of blankets, warm clothing, but what about producing heat? If you're lucky enough, you can have a wood fire, a log burner, ray burn. But think about gas burners. You know, portable gas burners, the old Super Serve used to have. But again, you've got to be very careful what you're doing. You're having that open flame heat source in a confined area, just making sure the area is well ventilated and nothing can actually fall on the flame, isn't it? I know it sounds obvious, but house fires do happen, and they usually happen in the most easiest circumstances. Something as simple as a candle falling over, hitting a curtain. So yeah, keeping warm and have an alternative way of keeping yourself illuminated. Now this day and age, we love our gadgets and gizmos, don't we? So another thing to consider is a backup power option. So you may want to look into backup generators or your solar battery banks. Anything really will keep your much loved appliances charged. So generators can provide power for heating systems, refrigeration, basic lighting, but they're very expensive. The big generators, they're very loud, very noisy, and obviously they take a lot of fuel, don't they? You've got your solar generators, your Jackeries, your EcoFlows, very good, keep them charged up. And again, they only last so long if the power's out for a few days. And obviously you're limited to what you can actually keep charged. So no matter what generator or emergency power system you've got, make sure it's well maintained, follow the guidelines, and think safety when using them. Now, as we're talking about heating, another thing to think about is insulating your home. Now, if you have got an old house, you've got to make sure it's well insulated to keep that heat in. Plus, that takes a strain off your heating source, doesn't it? Whatever you're burning. So if you're burning like a gas burner, the more your house retains the heat, the longer your gas supply is going to last, isn't it? And especially in the winter when the temperature drops. And it's not just old houses, but even new houses as well. I go around, check your windows, your doors for any drafts blowing in, seal them up, even if it's just a bit of newspaper, a bit of duct tape, whatever it is, just to stop that cold air coming in and keeping that heat from going out as well, from escaping. Look into heavy duty curtains. You get these thermal curtains these days. And even if you haven't got that, if you've got some spare blankets, chuck them in front of the windows and the doors, keep that heat in. Talking about keeping heat in, let's have a bit more of this. Even Father Christmas is smiling. Oh yeah. Now, winter, frost, cold, got to think about your plumbing as well. I mean your household plumbing. So freezing temperatures, they can lead to burst pipes, causing all sorts of damage. So think about insulating any exposed pipework. Get some lag in, some insulation, no matter what it is, just keep the frost off the pipes. Now the pipes don't have to be outside, they could be in a loft space, they could be on an exterior wall where they can get exposed to cold air. So make sure your pipes are well insulated and protected from the frost. Unhook your garden hoses, like say shut off any exterior water taps. So when the thaw comes or when electric comes back on and the pumps start working again, you could have all sorts of damage if you don't protect your pipework. Now, another thing to think about is staying informed. Like we touched on before with Oliver Downing, is have some battery operated radios. Now the outage might be localized. You know, your area might be affected, but others aren't. So how do you keep informed of the news if the internet, your telly doesn't work? Well, the best way is some battery operated radios, isn't it? If you listen to the news, I know news is full of rubbish these days, but at least you can keep it ahead of the news. Any further weather coming in or any other problems, you're up to date, aren't you? Just like any disaster or emergency, having all the relevant, up-to-date information will help you make informed decisions, won't it? Regarding your safety and the safety of your family, obviously. Now, before we come to the end of the video, if you do like these campfire talks, just let me know in the comments below. Let me know any suggestions on subjects. And if you've got something interesting to say and you want to join me on one, just let me know. I'll be happy to accommodate. There's even some hot chocolate and whiskey to go with it. So there we are then, conclusion. So to prepare yourself for any potential power outages in the winter, just requires some foresight, some planning, and putting in some practical measures in readiness. So by taking the time to create an emergency kit, invest in alternate ways of providing power, alternate ways of lighting, heating, say keeping yourself warm, fed, watered, plus winterizing your home, protecting your pipework, insulating your house, stopping the drafts. You then can ensure that yourself, your family and your home remain safe and somewhere comfortable to live, isn't it? That way, it doesn't matter if the electric's off for half an hour or 3 days. At least you're well prepared to take that challenge on. Fire's just about going out now. Hot chocolate and whiskey's about drunk. So thanks for watching. If you haven't done so already, please think about liking, subscribing, hit the notification bell. And if you do want to see some more videos, check that one out. And that one. And I'll catch you again next time. All the best.